Alright, my fellow gypsy scrappers, harvesting the world for copper. Today, what we're going to do is we're actually going to see how much copper you can get from different pipe wire. And this is a question that a lot of new scrappers have. So you see, not too much in there. So this is fit gauge. So what I'm doing, I actually weigh the amount of wire that I have. So I had 16 kilos of the really thick elephant rhino stuff here. Look at that. Big chunky gauge wire. And I worked out that the loss, once you strip all the casing, is actually 60%. If I was to lose 60% while stripping all of this back, you'd see that only the copper's left and you lose the weight from the actual casing itself. You'd have 16 kilos to begin with. You're remaining 60%, so you lose 6.4, which is 40%. Total is 9.6. I bought that for $40. So the profit I work it out at is $9.60 times 640. 640 is like type 2, type 1 is 680. So I just do an average on that. My profit margin on something like this is like probably about $1.80. So $1.80 times 9.6, I get that, which is a return on investment, which is 53.6%. So I'll just give you a quick example. So that's the thick gauge stuff. We'll start a brand new page. This is the basis of what you do, and you guys can copy this because this is really handy to do if you're stripping wire for profit. That's all the wire I've bought over the last few days. For that, a few electronic snakes. Hope you can read my chicken scratch writing. So I just got the heavy gauge set up. So the initial weight, loss, total, brought, profit, and return on investment. Original length is 0.5 meters. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to just measure to see how much this weighs. We'll do a before and after for each. I'll write this down, and you guys can see I have all these wires. So you get the normal construction wire, your mid-grade wire. It's like semi-mid-grade because thick wire, but there's quite a lot of small cores in there, so it might not be the best turn. But we'll see. Okay, there's the beast. Not really much of a beast, but he does the job. So you can see there, 0.75 kilos. Initial weight then would be 0.75 kilos. And I've bought this for about $1.90 Australian. Okay, I'll do the profit per kilo that you buy at $2.50. Made short work of this rhino. Look at that. All the way down the middle, nicely and straight. So you can just pull that right out then. Look, the orange bits. Cheesy wops, it does one. Okay, I'll just show you before and after. All come out nicely. We got some, so it's all go out nicely, look at that. Looking good. You got some random horse tail hair in there. What we'll do, we'll put this beautiful gold through the copper stripper and see what we're working with. I'll be right back to you. So, I'm just going to show you guys as well, with this beast here, honestly, get yourself on it, it's brilliant. It can actually get through these wires, these big beasts that we just took out with that big piece of copper. So I will just show you what it can do, because it can do some nice heavy lifting. Okay, so where are we at the moment? So this, it looks like I was doing smaller wire, so I'm just going to lift it, just raise the mechanism, adjust the nut, bring it up. Raise the roof. Okay, up white. I don't want to bring it down, I want to raise it up. It's quite a thick wire, so we'll give it to about there. So it's going to actually thread. There we go. Woohoo! Look at that, it's gone straight through the wire. You can see that there, it's cut it. And then we just take it back out like we did before. So look at that. Very nice. With that copper wire. So this is it stripped. It's stripped it all down. Very beautiful. And we ended up with 0.55. Not too bad. Heavy gauge. So the initial weight was 0.75. The loss we made on the weight was 0.20, which is a 27% loss in weight, which actually is 13% less than I thought, which is pretty good. So heavy gauge is definitely what you want to be looking for if you can buy it. It's definitely worth it. I brought it for $1.87, just recalculated it. And I'll strip it. In current condition, that's type 1. You might strip this and end up with just type 2. So that's why I've done an average number 2, which is $6.40, $3.52. So that just takes into consideration you could buy it expecting the best price and not get it. So it's good just to average the two together, so you're not having any surprises, and if you make a little bit more on top, it's all gravy, isn't it? The return on investment for that is 188%, which is sweet. Imagine that. You're buying a big piece of cable over there, 188% return on investment. That was just the profit we're looking at there. That's just our sample of 0.75 kilos, so the initial weight. But the real important thing we want is just a 1 kilogram sample, because that's really what your scrappers are going to be dealing in. So I worked out a 1 kilo sample of the big rhino wire you just saw. So the initial weight is the 1 kilo. We worked it to be a 27% loss on the weight. 0.27 kilos lost, which leaves 0.73 kilos. I buy it for $2.50 Australian. The profit on that is 0.73 times the average $6.40, which leaves us to $4.67 per kilo. The return is $256. Now, because this is type 1, I've just done a type 1 profit, but always stick with the average, you know, when you're buying this initially, because you don't know. But if you do find type 1, go ahead and just get excited about your best profit. So the best profit, 0.73 times $6.80, $4.96. Return on investment is 272%. Now, we're just going to move on to this stuff here. This is just your mid-grade construction wire. So you see that? Just a nice piece of copper in this. It's got quite a bit of length on it, see? And I'll just do the initial weight for us. So we'll take off all this copper. Lovely copper. And I'll put that into my copper bag. And also just a quick thing, you see how I coil this copper? That's what I do, I just wrap it around itself, like that. And the smaller stuff, and make an 8 out of it, or infinity. I wish this was infinity, you know, as much copper as you want. So that's what I do. There we go. So, 0.15, just for that little mid-grade scrap wire. Alright, I'll strip this, I'll crunch the mass for us, and I'll come back to you. So it's saying there's no difference in the weight. And also, this is why you should adjust the sharpness, because it will splinter if it's too tight. I'm just going to go ahead and put all the splinters in my, call this my splinter jar. Because we get splinters of type 1 that muffin things. It's good to keep hold of them, because they are valuable. I'm trying to crank out a few videos before my exams as well, so I can just get loads set up, and then you guys aren't missing out after exams. I'm going to be doing this a lot more, because I'm becoming addicted to it. So if it's saying that it's no change, always weigh the case first, just to make sure you don't want to be making a mistake. Okay, so I think it was just my scales. The case did weigh 0.05, so it was 0.1. So we did initial loss. Cool guys, so what I found with the mid-grade, I'll just have a look. I'm just going to put a disclaimer in as well. I think between the two, there could be some variance in the percentage lost, but I think only by 1 or 2%. Just bear that in mind with these calculations. It's a 1 or 2% variance, but it's still probably the most accurate we've got out there. Because I found nothing like this online, especially for, you know, up-and-coming scrappers. You want to know which way to go for, and sometimes the biggest is not always the best, but other times it is. So it just helps to know what you're looking for in terms of returns. So with the sample we had, it was only 0.15, but that was at 0.5 meters of a length, so 33% loss, and that was with the casing. So I had to reweigh the casing just to double check, because it said we had no loss, which is impossible. Impossible. So we need to check that. So I reweighed the casing on that, and we found we lost 0.05. So I think a lot of you YouTubers as well, I just love crunching the numbers and seeing the profits. I just find it really cool. So I bought that for $2 a kilo, but with the 0.15 it works out to be 30 cents. So the average profit, just going on a type 2, type 1 average price, is 64 cents, yep, which leaves us the average return of 53%, which is not shabby. Mid-grade stuff is not bad, you know, that's what we ended up with. If we're looking for the type 1 profit, you get 68 cents and it's 55%, it's only 2% difference. I know I'm pretty accurate here because I've done a kilogram sample, which is what you guys are mostly dealing with. And remember, this is Australian dollars, so just do your conversions. But you know, if I get enough people from different places, I'll do the conversions for you in a video if you really want that, so let me know in the comments. So these are the losses, 33%, so it works out to be 0.33 kilos. The weight's 0.67. I brought it for $2. So the average profit is $4.28. The return on investment is 53, same as our smaller sample. The type 1 profit, that's $4.55, and it's 56%. So it's a little bit more than type 1 profit in the smaller sample, but there's not too much there. So that's how I know I'm on the money with this. But I think some of the percentages might be variance of 1 or 2%, but just keep that in mind. That's for the mid-grade. Okay, now I think a lot of people get confused with this stuff because it looks like mid-grade. You know, I'd call it semi-mid because it's got 4 small cores in the middle, whereas before we had, with the mid-grade, it just had 1 thick core. So be very careful with this. Always check the cores. So for any wire from now on, it will have multiple casings, so you do start really losing the weight from here. But I will do the conversions for you guys, so you don't have to learn the hard lessons and lose some money. Okay guys, I'm crunching some numbers, you know, I'm gonna do my best. And I'll get back to you soon. First things first as well, before I go, I just weigh this. So we're looking at 0.1. Remember, it's got 4 small cores in it, so we're going to see what we end up with after. Alright. Okay guys, so that's what we end up with. So, just stripped it. There's 4 cables in there. 4 cables. that will need to be stripped. At least they're solid, but they're not like thread. It's still a lot of casing, you know what I mean? I'll get back to you now. I'll do some more stripping. I'll show you the result. All right, scrappers, we were able to get a 50% reduction in the weight, which is not as impressive. Look at that little copper toupee we've got. Yeah, it's not too much compared to what it was, if you remember. The numbers. Okay, so crunching the numbers, we found we're 50% loss. So it was 0.1 to begin with, ended up being 0.05 after. So it works out to be 20 cents. We're buying, average profit would be 32 cents. A return on investment is 37.5, pretty standard. But I mean, with most pipe that I'm doing, I'm making only about 30 to 35% return on investment. So wire is more profitable stripping it with this machine than it is collecting their stuff, the pipe, and banging it down and taking it. Because people, unfortunately, like, you know, I don't want to rip people off, neither do you guys, but people know what it's worth, you know what I mean? Whereas with this stuff, the wire, not everyone knows they can strip this down, so you can get a lot of it and make some good money with this. And this is why this machine, you know, it can set you up, can make you a bit of cash. And for the best one, the type 1 profit, we could make 34 cents with a return on investment of 41%, which is pretty good. 10% more than you make with copper pipe.